Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so we're jumping straight into this pile of sources you sent over. They're all focused on, well, a really key challenge. How do crypto startups actually use Instagram to grow? Cut through all that noise.
Yeah, it's a great topic. And one thing we noticed right away in the materials is they mention different ways to boost your profile.
Right, like tools and services. They specifically called out rapidboost.net, said it's something businesses use to scale up their social media fast.
Exactly. It hints at that practical side, needing to get visibility quickly sometimes. But the core issue the sources tackle is deeper.
Which is?
Well, crypto's complex, right? It can feel really abstract. And let's face it, the industry's had its share of trust problems.
That's all.
So trying to explain all that, build trust on a platform like Instagram that's so visual and fast, that's the puzzle these sources are trying to solve.
Okay, so our mission here is pretty clear. Take all this research, these notes, and pull out the really crucial bits, the actionable stuff.
The insights that actually show how crypto businesses can make Instagram work for them specifically.
Yeah, navigate that unique space and actually, thrive.
Exactly. It's not just about listing tactics, it's understanding why certain things work for crypto on this platform.
Okay, let's get into it then. Why Instagram? The sources call it a game changer for crypto startups. What makes it so special compared to, say, Twitter?
I think the biggest thing coming through is its visual first nature. Crypto ideas, they can be dense.
Uh-huh. Try explaining yield farming in a tweet.
Right. But visuals simplify. The sources talk a lot about infographics, short videos, really high impact graphics.
And there was that stack.
Yeah, the killer stat. Posts with compelling images get something like 650% more engagement than text only.
Wow, 650%?
It's huge. So for that challenge of explaining complex stuff, simply like explain it like I'm 5, visuals aren't just nice to have, they're essential.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's not just a small boost, it's fundamental. And it's not just the how, it's the who you reach.
Right. Totally. You've got this enormous audience, over 2 billion users?
Yeah, massive.
But the key thing the sources point out is that a growing chunk of that audience is exactly who crypto startups want to reach. Tech-savvy people interested in finance, new tech.
The right demographic?
Precisely. And there's another stat, I think, from Sprout Social saying finance-related content actually gets about 30% more engagement than average on Instagram.
Interesting. So the audience is there, and they're actually looking for this kind of content.
If you present it right, visually, speak their language.
Okay, but what about trust? You mentioned that's a big hurdle. How does Instagram help with that?
That's where the human side comes in. Because of the scams, the volatility, all that, trust is hard won in crypto.
For sure.
Instagram's features like stories or showing behind-the-scenes stuff, real-time updates, they let startups kind of humanize their brand.
So there are real people involved.
Exactly. Show the team, show the passion, the actual work getting done. It's harder on just text platforms. The sources keep coming back to this. Authenticity builds trust.
And trust leads to adoption.
Pretty much. It lets you get past the jargon and show the people the purpose.
Okay, so it's that combo. Visual power for simplicity, the right audience already there and engaged, and the platform's knack for building authentic connections. Makes sense.
I know.
So let's get tactical. What kind of content do the sources say actually works? What should these startups be posting?
Right. The sources break it down into a few key strategies. And maybe unsurprisingly, given the complexity thing, number 1 is educational explainers.
Actively teaching people the basics and maybe more.
Exactly. Using things like carousels, stories, reels, taking that dense crypto jargon and making it, digestible.
Like mini lessons.
Yeah. The source even gives an example, a simple 3-post carousel explaining what is staking, which basically is locking up your crypto to support the network and get rewards.
Bite-sized learning. I like that. And videos must be huge for showing how things work.
Oh, definitely. Short reels, maybe IGTV for slightly longer stuff like 1-minute guides, how to set up your first crypto wallet, or a quick demo of a new DeFi app feature.
DeFi being decentralized finance.
Right. These quick guides are great, especially if you tie them to hot topics like NFTs, non-fungible tokens.
The unique digital asset thing.
Yeah, and infographics, visual cheat sheets. They're gold. Boiling down market data, stats, key concepts into images people can easily save and share. The sources say interactive or animated ones do particularly well for shares and saves.
Because they're useful reference points.
Exactly. And there's a case study mentioned, right? CoinGenius.
Yes, tell me about that.
So CoinGenius, it's a fintech platform. They apparently doubled their Instagram following in just 4 months.
Doubled. How?
Mainly by consistently posting these weekly hashtag crypto basics carousels, just breaking down fundamental concepts. And the source says this boosted their overall engagement by 120%.
Wow, so consistent, simple education really moves the needle.
It's a growth engine, yeah.
Okay, education is foundational. Makes sense. Given the trust issue we talked about, what's the next big content theme?
It links straight back to trust, behind the scenes and company culture.
Showing the inner workings.
Yeah, in a space where people can be skeptical, showing the actual people building the thing is huge.
Like literally putting faces to the code.
Exactly. Share candid team photos, maybe mini interviews and stories, a day in the life kind of thing. It makes the brand relatable, builds credibility.
What about the product itself?
Also key, product development sneak peeks. Show screenshots of what's coming, share progress, maybe even videos of developers brainstorming. It taps into that whole building in public idea.
Making the community feel involved.
Right. And that includes the good and the bad. Celebrate the wins, the launches, sure. But also be authentic about setbacks, what you learned. That honesty really resonates.
There's example, Pixel Pulse.
Yeah, Pixel Pulse.
Mm-hmm.
An NFT marketplace startup. They apparently started making their dev meetings public on Instagram Live.
Really? Public dev meeting.
Yeah. Created a lot of buzz. Users felt like they could actually vote on features, and their user-generated content stuff users made about them shot up by 40%. People felt invested.
That's smart, turning development into community engagement. Which leads nicely into the next point, user-generated content and community spotlights.
Yeah, this is all about using your biggest fans to build that social proof.
How do you do that?
Highlight real user stories. Share testimonials, reviews, repost content from people actually using your platform, traders, artists, whoever. Maybe do a User of the Week feature.
Simple but effective.
Yeah.
And getting people involved more directly.
Contests and challenges work great. Ask followers to share their own crypto stories, maybe unboxing videos if you have merch, or crypto memes they've made. Give them incentives, tokens, early access, whatever.
Makes sense.
And also, proactively share valuable stuff your users create. Guides, useful threads. Obviously, get their permission first. It just shows you value their input.
And it's around this idea, community building and scaling up, that the sources mention those resources again, like rapidboost.net.
Right. They position it as a tool businesses sometimes use alongside these organic strategies to get that initial traction faster, amplify the reach of community content.
So it's part of the toolkit for getting visibility.
Mm.
Got it. Okay, moving beyond community focus, the sources also stress market insights, news, and thought leadership.
Yeah, the crypto world moves so fast, right? The news cycle is relentless.
Nonstop.
So you can provide huge value just by cutting through that noise. Offer quick daily or weekly recaps, maybe video updates and stories. Speed and accuracy are key.
But not just reporting the news.
No, crucially, add your own perspective. Share your team's expert takes. Why did that token pump? What's the real impact of this new regulation likely to be?
Offer analysis.
Exactly. Short videos work well, or use Instagram's Q&A stickers. Regular AMAs, Ask Me Anything sessions with the founders or key people. Great for transparency, great for getting feedback.
And there was a stat about original insights.
Yeah, IssueMarch data suggesting posts with original analysis get shared like 2.5 times more than just reposting news. People want that curated expert viewpoint.
Okay, now for something maybe unique to crypto. Memes, humor, and pop culture.
Yeah, you can't really avoid it in crypto, can you? And the sources say lean into it, but strategically.
So make memes.
The right meme, yeah. Something relatable about buying the dip or dealing with FUD fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It can connect, educate even, and potentially go viral.
But don't just be a meme account.
Right. Mix the humor with actual value. Use the memes, the culture, but connect it back to education or community feeling.
Speak the language.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Launching hashtag challenges could work too. Maybe something fun like hashtag crypto startup fails to share learnings. Tying into wider trends of viral dance, a TV show reference can boost reach, but, be careful. It needs to feel authentic and timely.
Is there an example of this working?
Yeah, ChainChuckle, a DeFi app. They apparently went from 4,000 to 30,000 followers in less than 6 months.
Wow. Mostly through memes.
Primarily daily crypto memes, yeah. And it apparently doubled their weekly app downloads, too.
That's crazy growth. Shows the power of connecting culturally.
Yeah.
Okay, last major strategy. Strategic influencer collaborations and partnerships.
This is about leveraging other people's audiences and trust.
How?
Work with respected KOLs, key opinion leaders in the crypto space. Get them to do an Instagram takeover, co-host a live Q&A, maybe write a guest post for your blog that you promote on Insta.
And partnerships beyond influencers.
Yeah, cross-promote with brands that make sense, partner with a wallet provider, maybe a security auditor, an NFT artist, do a joint contest or limited release.
And the sources mentioned micro-influencers specifically.
Yes, definitely. They pointed out that smaller influencers often have more engaged, trusting audiences in specific niches.
So maybe better ROI sometimes.
Could be. Finding those micro-influencers who genuinely align with your project can drive higher quality engagement or signups than just going for huge names.
There was a case study for this too, LumenPay.
Right. LumenPay partnered with 5 micro-influencers. They did these 24 hours with LumenPay story takeovers, showing how they use the product in real life.
And the result?
A 22% lift in high-intent signups the following week. Pretty effective.
Okay, that's a ton of great ideas pulled from these sources. Educational stuff, trust building, community, memes, influencers. How do you actually put it all together? The material had some practical steps, right?
Yeah, it boils down to being systematic. First step, maybe the most important. Set clear goals and define your target personas.
Know what you're aiming for and who you're talking to.
Exactly. What does success look like? More followers, signups, just education. And who is your ideal user? Age, interests, pain points. What kind of content do they like on Instagram?
So you're not just guessing.
Right. Then use that to craft a balanced content calendar. Don't just do one thing. Mix it up. Education, community, news, behind the scenes, maybe some memes.
And track what worked.
Critically, use Instagram Insights. See what resonates, what bombs, and adjust the plan.
And quality matters more than just posting constantly.
Absolutely. The sources really prioritize quality over quantity. High-impact visuals, thoughtful captions, authenticity. They mention using tools like Canva or Figma to keep things looking professional and consistent.
Makes sense. And measurement seems key throughout.
Non-negotiable. Leverage analytics and iterate. Track saves, shares, comments, DMs, link clicks, everything. Run A/B tests. Try different headlines, different visuals for the same concept. See what performs better.
Be ready to adapt based on the data.
Constantly. What worked last month might not work this month. Agility is key.
And finally, it comes back to interaction, doesn't it?
Definitely. Foster two-way conversations. It's not just a megaphone. Respond to comments, answer DMs, use polls, Q&A stickers, actively ask for feedback, show you're listening.
Build actual relationships.
That's the core of it. Build relationships, not just follower counts.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive, the big takeaway from these sources seems to be that Instagram isn't just another social channel for crypto startups. It can be a really powerful growth engine.
Yeah, but it needs that strategic approach. It needs a blend of creativity, being consistent, really knowing who you're talking to, and making genuine human connections, especially in a field that can feel so technical.
The sources basically lay out a playbook.
A pretty compelling one. And it sounds like you don't need to do everything at once.
Right. Start small, pick a few strategies that fit, measure relentlessly, learn fast, iterate.
And keep telling your story in a way that builds both understanding and trust.
Which leaves us with a final thought to chew on, based on everything we've discussed from these sources.
How do you actually take crypto, which is inherently complex, often abstract, all about code and blockchains, and translate that?
Translate it to something visually engaging, emotionally resonant, and genuinely trust-building.
On a platform fundamentally designed for human connection. Think about that bridge, that crucial bridge between the tech you're building and the community you need to embrace it. How do you build that?